I'm Jahowi Batoli, eco-filmmaker and wildlife specialist.
And I'm Ella Meek, co-founder of Kids Against Plastic and all-round animal lover.
Welcome to our weekly update on the health of the planet and its animals.
This is The Pulse.
Coming up in today's programme,
We hear from one of Russia's leading eco-campaigners, winner of a prestigious international award.
troubled times for giant clams.
And we unearth some of the more unusual eco-news stories.
Hey Ella.
Hi Jahowi, so what have you been up to?
Well, I've just been preparing for a big week of diving.
Oh, that sounds very exciting.
It is. So, what's caught your eye in the news this week?
Well, as you know, historically, Russia have been a bit behind in sustainable practices and sustainable energies, but there are some signs that this could be changing.
Indeed so. I mean, at COP26, Russia pledged to end deforestation by 2030. And President Putin also said that they want to reach net zero by 2060 with their carbon emissions.
Yeah, COP26 did a great job of putting pressure on countries to sign up to sustainable practices. Lots of NGOs and individual activists in Russia also played a big part. Vladimir Slivyak and his NGO Eco Defense have been campaigning on environmental issues in Russia since the late 80s. This week, Vladimir was recognised for his commitment to the environment and was awarded a Right Livelihood Award, which is considered to be an alternative Nobel Prize. After the ceremony, we were able to put some questions to him. I'll read the questions out. You've been an environmental activist for most of your life. Is it getting easier or harder?
Unfortunately, right now it's the most problematic time in Russia for environmental activism, actually for any kind of activism. I think there was several thousands of people who either left country or got to jail because of activism this year. So it's absolutely the worst time that I've seen in my life for the last 32 years.
Over your career, what achievements are you most proud of?
Well, definitely stopping the construction of several nuclear reactors. That's been a nuclear power plant with 2 reactors near Kaliningrad in Russia, and stopping the project of construction of 8 nuclear reactors, Russian nuclear reactors in South Africa. In my experience, fighting nuclear power industry is probably the most difficult thing in environmental activism, but it was also quite remarkable when we, for the first time in Russian history, stopped the development of a new coal mine in the heart of a Russian coal industry.
When President Putin retires, do you think Russia's next generation of ruling politicians will have a more enlightened approach to the environment, climate change and saving the planet?
I definitely believe it, and I really want to believe in it. Well, of course, it depends on who exactly comes after Putin and whether this young, more educated on environment and climate generation really allowed to take power in their hands. Because right now, the main problem we're facing politically in Russia is that President Putin doesn't like to go, and he wants to stay in power probably as long as he lives. So the very good question, when and who exactly get this power, because one day our president will have to go anyway, one way or another.
So Ella, take a look at this.
Oh, what's going on?
This is just a massive pod of dolphins off the coast of South Africa.
That is amazing. I don't think I've ever seen so many dolphins in one place before. Have you ever seen anything like this, Jahowi?
To this degree, very, very rarely. I mean, this is something that you don't see that often and never so close to shore. And the crazy thing, there's even a whale in there. And probably what's happening is they've found a big school of fish, sardines or something like that, and they're now rounding them up into one massive bait ball. And then so underwater is just this incredible feeding frenzy.
Wow, they are very clever animals. It must be such an honour to be there to witness this.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to be underwater in there. I mean, the sight and sound of it all must have just been insane. So Ella, recently in the Philippines, police have been getting huge hauls of illegally harvested giant clams. And in one seizure alone, they seized 200 tons, estimated to be about $25 million.
Oh, that definitely can't be good news.
No, it's not good news. Giant clams are an important food source for peoples in Asia and the Pacific regions. And on top of that, they're incredibly important for biodiversity on coral reefs.
So why are people harvesting them then?
Well, in recent years, they've been seen as a luxury food item, and their shells are actually being used as an ivory replacement in the ornamental carving trade.
Oh wow, that's surprising.
Indeed. Earlier, I got to chat to Olivia Svak-Goldman, the Executive Director of Wildlife Justice, who recently conducted an investigation into the matter. Hi, Olivia. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Chaway. Thanks for having me.
Can you explain the report's findings?
It identified this enormous surge in the trafficking of giant clams. And this giant clams aren't necessarily a cuddly type of species, so they're often overlooked. So we thought it was really important first to just raise the alarm that this is happening so people know about it, and also to say what we don't know about it. So there are a lot of intelligence gaps that haven't been addressed sufficiently in terms of the modus operandi, in terms of the trafficking routes, in terms of the potential corruption that's enabling it. So we think it's really important that law enforcement in the identified countries are increasing the resources to look at this issue.
So what is the root cause for the demand in giant clams?
So giant clams are one of the potential ivory substitutes. So what we saw, for example, is when the Chinese government banned the domestic sale of elephant ivory, they did promote the use of ivory substitutes. So if you carve them, they can look very, very similar to elephant ivory, and they're used for very similar types of ornaments. There is some concern that the promotion of giant clams is maintaining a demand.
How will wildlife justice continue to fight this issue?
What we need to do is we need to be addressing it as transnational organized crime. While it's important to focus on the poachers and the lower level criminals as well, at the Wildlife Justice Commission, we really focus on going after those high level criminals that are organizing the crime. And then if you take them out, if you get them successfully not only arrested, but also successfully prosecuted and convicted, you can have a real impact on those networks and therefore make a big impact.
So Jahawi, have you ever seen one of these before?
No, I can't say I have. Could it be some sort of drone?
No, it's not a drone or a plane, but it's actually known as a sea dragon. It's not exactly what I would have thought of if you mentioned dragon, but still cool.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, if you tell me sea dragon, I'm thinking of this little nudibranch that looks very cool that actually eats jellyfish. So what is this?
Yeah, this is pretty different. It's developed by a Swedish company called Ministo, and it's developed to harness some of the sea's energy to make electricity. And the way they work is they're attached to the seabed and move around in a figure-of-8 movement to capture the tidal power. And according to the company, it's a much more efficient way of doing so than more of the traditional methods.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of tidal power before and seen some of them, but they look nothing like this. I mean, are there any that are currently in use?
Yeah, there are some installed around the Faroe Islands between Iceland and Norway. Last year, they harnessed enough energy to make electricity for around 60 houses, and there are more plans to install some bigger sea dragons in the future.
Wow, this is amazing tech, and I know some places in Kenya that could really do with this kind of technology.
Yeah, I think it would be great if they were installed all over the world.
So Ella, the Icelandic Forest Service say that if you're feeling stressed, you should go out and hug a tree.
Oh really? I mean, I've heard the term tree hugger thrown around a bit, but I didn't realise people actually do it to reduce stress.
Well, you know, it's really taking off. And I mean, there's even a tree hugging world championship in the Halupu forest in Levi in Finland. And in Kerala in India, they organized an event, the largest ever tree hugging event, which was attended by 4,620 people.
You know what, Jahawi, you're actually making it sound quite fun.
You know, I won't lie, I have hugged a couple of trees in my time.
Yeah, well, I'm more into planting trees, but you never know.
Well, on that note, see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.